AITA for asking my daughter to take in her grandmother for a few days? I, 55M, live with my Mill, 82F, wife, and 2 sons in the suburbs. Recently, my Mill has had trouble meeting her friends in the city, and her whole day has been disruptive. She spends most of the day at home either getting in the way of chores or watching TV. It's not healthy for her, since she doesn't really talk much to anyone or go out. I remembered that my youngest, 30F, lives alone in the core of our city in an apartment. So I asked Mill if she'd want to move in with my daughter so she can see her friends more often. Mill liked the idea and even seems excited. Next time I spoke to my daughter, I asked her if she could take Mill in for a few days just to try it out. My daughter kept saying no, that she has no room and she can't move anyone in. But I said that she could just put out a mattress and let Mill try living there for a while since she likes the idea. She asked me if I told Mill about the idea. When I said yes, she just hung up on me and she hasn't picked up any of my calls since. My son says that she's mad at me, but I don't get it. She loves her grandma, and my daughter barely does anything to help out with the family anyways. And it would let Mill see her friends. AITA? Edit. I should have mentioned this earlier. My daughter lives in a building with supportive living options for seniors. My suggestion was for my daughter to let Mill live with her for a few days to see if she likes the building. And if she does, then we'd see about moving her into one of the suites. Info. How is it your Mill came to live with you? Was it because she's no longer capable of living alone? Does she need help, care in her daily life? You remembered your youngest lives alone in the city? Right. So, how long had you forgotten about your daughter? Why on earth did you think it would be a good idea to ask your Mill if she wanted to move in with your daughter before asking your daughter if your Mill could move in? What exactly did you say to your daughter when you asked her if she can let your Mill try it out for a few days? Put out a mattress for an 82-yo to stay? Please do clarify. Was the mattress for your daughter to sleep on? Were you kicking your daughter out her own bed? Or for your 82-yo Mill? How big is your daughter's apartment? Clearly she doesn't have a guest bed. So I've got to ask, is there even a guest room? When you were 30-yo, would you have liked to have your grandma living with you? Really, I want to understand your mentality here. But yeah, YTA. Did you really think you were fooling anyone with the "let's try it out for a few days" approach? Your title is misleading too. YTA. You asked your Mill whether she wanted to move in with another person. Your daughter, without first discussing it with the other person. Of course you are the a-hole. Your daughter's housing isn't yours to give away, invite guests to. On top of that, you expect either your 82-year-old Mill to sleep on a mattress on the floor or for your daughter to sleep on the floor in her own apartment. Mate, YTA on all levels. If your Mill is a burden to you, and it sounds like she is, then you need to figure something else out. You and your partner chose to take Mill in. Your daughter did not. If taking care of Mill is too much of a hassle, you need to find another solution with your partner. Promising Mill to be able to move in with your daughter is not a solution unless your daughter had suggested it herself or you had asked her and she had enthusiastically said yes. I loved my grandma, but no way would I be okay with her moving in with me. When she was in her early 80s, she started developing dementia and eventually needed so much care that no way she could have been cared for by a single family member in a regular house. Moreover, your daughter is 30, probably works full-time, might have a partner or want a partner, and will probably want to start her own family in the next 5 years or so. No way that she would want an elderly dependent person around for that. And as she said, There's currently not even enough space for hosting another person because Mill or she herself would have to sleep on some mattress somewhere. On the floor? You know what? You say your daughter is the youngest, but it sounds like she's the only one of your kids who lives by herself. Your two sons, I assume, are older, but somehow both still live at home. Seeing as they already live with you and Mil, how about you promise your sons will take turns driving Mill to her social appointments? That way she can remain living with you, as it sounds like you have space. And your two sons get to help out too. The way you talk about your Mill makes her sound like a dog you can't wait to rehome or put down. And asking your daughter to try it out for a few days shows how disingenuous you are about caring for your Mill or your daughter. Your adult daughter is not obligated to share her home with her grandma because you volunteered her to or think she doesn't help out with the family. YTA. Why wouldn't you talk to your daughter first? Why would you assume a young adult would be okay being a caretaker for her grandmother? You could have looked into transportation options for her or senior apartments in the area. Instead, you decided it was your daughter's job. Total asshole move. LMAO, how in the hell did you think this was a good idea? Your single, adult daughter's apartment isn't a nursing home. You essentially promised her home to your Mill without even speaking to your daughter first and have the audacity to be shocked she isn't complying. YTA. You volunteered, told your daughter to take her grandma on as a roommate under the guise of it being temporary when it seems like you want her to move away from your home. She is 30 years old and you are asking her to put her life on hold to be her grandma's roommate? I love my grandma, but I don't want to live with her. I imagine she hung up on you so she wasn't disrespectful to you. I asked Mill if she'd want to move in with my daughter so she can see her friends more often. Mill liked the idea and even seems excited. You had no business doing that. You should have asked your daughter first and then respected her decision. Not only have you caused a rift in your relationship with your daughter, you may have also caused an issue between your daughter and her grandmother. YTA. You don't get to decide who lives with your daughter. Stop trying to dump your responsibilities on her. My Mill did this to me. Except she invited my Bill to live with us. I was pregnant with my daughter. Bill sawed his sister for years and is overall just an unsavory character. He got a one-way train ticket to our place. He had phone sex on my couch every night while jerking it. He drank disgusting amounts of chalk milk. And without fail, every morning I had to use the only bathroom to get ready. He would be taking a 1-hour hot shower. He lived with us for a month and was an absolute burden. I moved out and almost divorced my husband over it. YTA. For so many reasons. YTA. She spends most of the day at home either getting in the way of chores or watching TV. I feel like you just don't want to deal with her anymore. So you volunteered your daughter. YTA. No singleton living their best life in the city wants their grandma sleeping on their living room floor. What were you thinking? YTA. Because you can't choose a straightforward story. Title says, for a few days, but post says, for a while. It's one thing if you ask for a weekend and are responsible for her return to normal living, but a completely different thing if you say, try living there for a while. So what is it? A weekend or a new living situation? If you had said, can you let grandma stay with you for a Friday, Monday to catch up with friends? It would make her happy. Then I can see NTA. But the way you describe it, you dropped an indefinite living situation onto her. YTA. Why would you pitch the idea to your Mill before talking to your daughter? It sounds like you ambushed her with this and tried to force it in her. Your mill is not your daughter's problem to fix. It is yours. I'm struggling to believe this is real. But okay. Yes, of course, YTA. Maybe what you did wasn't so bad. But you executed in the wrong order. You see, when you're trying to pull this off, you 1. Ask the person whose home it is. Then 2. You tell Mill it's an option. If it is. Instead you promised it to Mill and asked if it was possible afterward. This very clearly means YTA. You do not own the world. Your jurisdiction doesn't extend to your daughter's house. You totally screwed this up. Also, what do you mean, put a mattress out? Like, on the floor in the middle of her living room? Can Mill get down to the floor without trouble? She's 82. This sounds not workable. YTA. You don't get to offer someone else's house up. Why the hell would you think that's okay? TBH, it sounds like you're just trying to unload your mill onto someone else. Your mill isn't her responsibility. YTA. LMFAO. I asked my mill if she wanted to live with my daughter. Right off the rip, you're a giant aw. You don't go around asking someone like that without even thinking of speaking to the person that would potentially taking them in first the moment that thought popped into your head. Your first call, email, text should have been to your daughter. The fact that you claim to not understand why she's mad is laughable. I mean, really? Also, where is it stipulated that children are obligated, required, expected to help out with the family? Once they move out, your daughter has zero responsibility to your mill. FYI. There's a big difference between loving your grandparents and wanting to share your home with them. Especially at 30. Your daughter likely wants to come and go as she pleases. Not look after your mill cause you're too lazy. YTA. You think an 82-year-old woman wants to sleep on the floor? Or are you paying your daughter's rent to make up for your daughter sleeping on the floor? YTA. You offered your daughter's space to your mill without consulting your daughter first. That space was never yours to offer in the first place. You cannot actually expect us to believe this is an innocent situation. The way that you write this post, it is dripping with disdain for your mill. You don't just remember that you have a kid who has moved away and is living alone. I am sure you were priming your mill in the hopes that she would be able to help manipulate your daughter into saying yes. From your comment of her whole day has been disruptive, it leads me to believe that she is having some issues again. It sounds like you and your wife signed up for this and not your daughter. Also, what person tries to have an elderly person sleep on a floor mattress? Unless you are trying to say, daughter, give up your room, give it to Mills, since I am tired of dealing with her. The sleeping arrangement conversation sounds like your daughter has a one-bedroom or a studio apartment. Either way, you are a huge off for so many reasons, including how you talk about Mill and try to offload her to your daughter and then have a surprise Pikachu face when she says no. Come on, be better. Don't be surprised when your daughter goes NC with you for how you are behaving. YTA. You made what your mill is going to see as a promise without clearing it with your daughter. First, you've put her in an impossible position. No young woman is going to want her grandmother as a roommate in a one-bedroom apartment. But now if she says no, she'll hurt her grandmother's feelings and look like the bad guy. OTOH. If she says yes, that's the end of her sex and dating life. You suck.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.